Hey folks, so today we are going to do another Madmapper tutorial. So this tutorial will allow you to use your projector and your laser simultaneously and to have your laser beam project or to interact with your projection. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through each one of the hardware components that we're using, and then we're going to have a dive into Madmapper after, and from there we'll go through the motions. So first things first, this is the hardware that we're using. So as you can see, there's my MacBook Pro. I have a Optima GT 1080 here. So this is my projector, obviously. That is connected to the computer using HDMI cable, and the only other thing connected to it is this power cable. That's it. Okay. So the other stuff in this pile of cable belongs to the laser here. So this laser is a Laser World DS3000. So that would be a 2021 model of the 3 watt laser that they have. The Cat5 cable or the Ethernet cable here, that as you can see leads back to the computer and goes into the computer via the dongle. And these other bits are for safety. So the key is a safety feature along with the interlock through stopper. And then we have the power con cable there as well. So yeah, so the dip switch, as you can see, I've set to just the one dip switch going up there, dip switch 6, and that allows me to automatically detect the laser using Madmapper over the network cable when it's not connected to any kind of switch or anything, when it's just point-to-point connection. Okay, so we're going to put this here, and this video feed will allow us to kind of watch what's happening with the projection and laser in real time. So let me just get rid of that for now. Okay, and what we're going to do now is we're going to open our Madmapper session. So we are in Madmapper. This is a default session here. There's nothing in it at all, no quads, nothing lighting related. That's our outputs, nothing there. So this is basically just how it would be if you had opened it. So what we'll do is we'll create, first of all, a projector output in our Manage Outputs tab. So we go into that. We see automatically the Optima 1080p is in there. Sorry, I'm just going to check my OBS. Okay. So our Optima 1080p is in there. And now we want to create a laser projector here as well. As you can see, the ShowNet enabled laser is showing there on my screen. Okay. So I'm just going to zoom out here a little bit. Okay. And as you say, we've nothing in our lighting section there. So the first thing I want to do here is I want to create a just a test card, but I want it to be outputting on my projector. So I'm going to go to my video surfaces tab. I'm going to create a video quad, and that appears up there. Okay. Now, as of right now, I am not seeing anything on the wall. So what I need to do is I need to go to my output options. I need to enable full screen mode. And then now it is showing on the wall here. So let me swap over to my phone again. There you go. And let's just line this guy up here. Okay. So that's our video feed. Hopefully it's good enough there. Okay. And then next thing we want to do is we want to project our laser. So there's going to be a bit of a brightness difference here. So what I need to do is I need to just get rid of the video camera feed again. Go back to Madmapper. Go to my master outputs here, or my output section, manage master settings. And bring my laser down to like 25% because the laser is significantly brighter than the projector is, and therefore you compensate for that for the sake of the video here. So in real life, you'll probably find yourself doing that as well because the laser is just so high intensity that even the brightest projectors, there's always going to be a bit of a difference there. So you're nearly, if you're doing this type of work, you're most likely going to have to go back and forth and make sure there's a nice balance between the two. So we have our quad there. Let's go and create a quad with the laser, and let's just see where we're at with that. Okay, now I've created the quad. Again, nothing on screen. What I need to do is I need to arm the lasers. Okay, and now that is showing on screen. So let me just bring that up again. Okay, so that's our wall. That's our laser, and that is our projector on there as well. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Madmapper here. That's happening away in the background. There's a couple of things I can tell straight away from this image. Let me just, even as I'm talking about it, I'll show you. So I can see that my projection is up quite a bit higher than my laser is. So what I might have to do here is I need to basically rearrange these, but I'm going to actually adjust the sizes of these as well first. So I'm going to make the laser and the projector that bit smaller so that they fit over each other nicely. So let's just get this guy down here. Okay, into Madmapper. So I'm going to actually disable my laser for a second here. I'm going to make the projection that little bit easier to view. Okay. Now I find that in this, if we use this view option here, where it shows both sides, both of the views side by side, it allows me to keep my input window open while looking at my output window. So I know I need to make this a bit smaller, and I need to drag it up a bit. Now, as you can see, there's a bit of fight there, right? So what that is because this snapping mode is turned on. So if I turn that off, then it lets me freely move this image around. So let me just show you what that looks like on OBS now, right? Sorry, Madmapper. So what we do is we have the video here. This is on the left. We have our input. On our output, we have on the right, we have our output. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this around, and that was how I was moving the screen there a moment ago. So I just moved it up ever so slightly, and then I have just shrank the entire screen a little bit as well. So that's it in Madmapper. And let me do the same for my laser here now. So let's see if we can maybe make this video feed a little bit smaller and keep it in the keep it in our view here. So we have video capture, and let's just pop that just down here somewhere. Okay, so now if we go back to our session, we go to our laser, re-enable our laser quad, which is currently outputting the same test card image that we had before. Now what we want to do is we want to basically just align these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this projection. So I know looking at this, I need to make this a bit smaller. So I'm going to make it smaller there. Just from eyeballing it, that looks about right. So I'm going to bring it up here and try and center it. Okay, so we need to start tucking in corners here. So we'll see what happens. Generally what we need to do with these kind of things is we need to just go over to our section on the left here and go to our mesh warping. And from there, it lets us kind of precisely do it for kind of the strange angle that I'm hitting this at. So I've got quite a bit of keystoning issues, you could call them here, with the laser. The projector, not so much, because I have readjusted the keystone on the projector itself. So from here, it just looks like the laser needs to be tucked in. So I'm going to go to mesh warping, going to enable, and I'm just going to see what happens here. First of all, if I use my just the corners. Okay, so that's about there. That's there. Okay, it's not too bad. Now we start to see some distortion when we start to do this stuff. Okay, then again though, not too bad. I've seen a lot worse without using any of the mesh warping or Bezier functions. So let's just see what happens. Okay. Cool. Okay, it's not too bad. Let's just add in a warping point here. Let's just see. Add warping point. Okay. So this is the type of thing that you could honestly spend all day at. And can be a bit of a law of diminishing returns after a while with this type of work. But that being said, the more care you put into it, the better it appears after. And, you know, ultimately it's frustrating and slow, but at the same time, it is the name of the game, really. So easy to kind of fatigue yourself doing this type of work, but at the same time, when you do get it absolutely spot on, it is like the best feeling ever. So let's just see if we can straighten up our corner ever so slightly there. Okay, I'm going to add a warping point in here. Get that kind of fix that up if I can. Ugh, yeah, bit tricky. But look, honestly, a combination of all this type of stuff here, where we're using the Bezier warping, and then just the mesh, and then our typical kind of corner tucking, as I call it. That's what kind of will make this work out as accurately as possible. So let's just see. We've got a few kind of bulges there. Shouldn't matter too much, but as I say, if we can do it perfectly, we obviously would in a real life scenario. Okay, let's just move the whole thing a tiny bit. Okay, so it's not perfect, as you can see, but you know, in fairness, on the video you're seeing there, it's showing up a bit better than it is here in real life. So I won't beat myself up too bad, but ideally this would be just perfectly mapped. And that's, you know, time. That's all it is. So if we go to our video quad right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a GPU particle system. So there it is. Now I need to significantly change these settings. So let me actually just, in the meantime, I'm going to kill my laser there for a moment. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to up the amount of, let's see if we can make sure you guys can all see this. Okay, so I'm going to just drag the corner of Madmapper up a little bit for a sec here. So what I found we need to do in this kind of scenario is add more particles. So as many as your GPU will handle. Turn the speed right down. Turn up like damping and temper a bit. Turn on the wall collision option. So that means that they just bounce off the wall and come back out again. From here, we want to, I generally get rid of the saturation. Just keep it white. Let's make sure it's coming through there. Yeah, you can see it there, right? Just going to adjust the exposure on the video feed. See if we can get it. Something like that. Okay. So we go back to Madmapper here. And we want to just maybe restart the particles. Okay, so that looks pretty healthy right there, right? Now, how we make this kind of interesting and make it go is we need to go to the external force section there. So as you can see, external force, and I'm just going to make sure my head isn't in the way there. Just shrink myself a little bit. And I'm going to drag this guy up over here, and this should help with our previewing. Okay, so we're going to just go to our external force section. We're going to select, or actually we're going to leave that for a second, but what we will do is we'll move on to our laser, and we'll come back to this part from here. So I go to my laser section, re-enable that, and then I want to go to my laser materials. So click on this, go down, and I'm going to use points for this one. It seems to have worked out quite nicely in the past. So what I need to do is I need to put the points onto the laser quad. There you go. I'm going to reduce the amount of points we have. So we're going to say 3 there. And have that option to enable as well. But for the moment, we're going to just leave that off. Okay, so go back to my quad here. And then what I want to do, my video quad, is go back down to my external force. And I'm going to select this option, go to points, enable external force. And then what we should see is we should see the two interacting with each other. So I'm going to kill my laser for a sec. And there we can see that guy is now got some points running through it. Okay, so let me just make this a little bit bigger here so we can see it again. Okay, so the points are now traveling around that. Okay, So it's kind of a cool little effect. But what we want to do is we kind of want to improve it a little bit there so that we are basically, you know, leaving a kind of a better trail on it. So we need to change some of our particle settings here. Let me just get rid of that exposure thing on the, there we go. Okay, so let's just go back to Madmapper here. And we are going to turn damping down a bit. Kind of increases its movement there, which I'm not really after. So let's maybe turn damping up again. And maybe restart. Okay, so now if we have a quick look here, we can see a lot of that is showing here straight away. So let's see what happens if we change our temper. Okay, not much. Damping again just creates a bit more movement in it. So what I want to happen here is I want it to be a bit more of a trail off it. So what might actually be the best option here is to turn up the power of our points. So you can see they're a little bit brighter there, a bit more intense, and invert the force. And now, as you can see, it's pushing the particles out of the way of the points, okay? So this is all happening here without any laser involvement whatsoever. So as you can see, like on the video feed, that's just doing its thing. We don't actually have the laser going. So what I've done is by mapping the laser at the start, now once we've inserted the points as our force, and then we've also got them working, we've got them as our quad, our laser quad. We now have the option to just re-enable our laser quad, and then we should see the laser, and it gives the effect that the laser is cutting out the particle systems. There they are, okay? So let's just restart our particles. Okay, and now we can see what looks to be a laser beam cutting out those particles. Okay, so this is it with the laser off and the laser back on again. Cool. Okay, so that's kind of the gist of it. Like, you can have a lot of fun here with the points. I found they're probably my favorite one to use in this context. So I like to rotate these, and I found that they made a pretty interesting kind of effect on the particles when you did that. So definitely a fun one. Other than that, as I said before, you've got this threshold option. So if we enable that, and just for the full effect, let me go back to the particle system and restart. And I'm just going to, yeah, like that's that kind of big swooshing effect. Always fun. So let me see, was there any other kind of fun things? So if we turn down our auto move to be a bit slower, have to keep going back to the particles and restarting it to demonstrate these. So just FYI. So that's what you're seeing on screen. So there's a bit of a yellowness to my laser right now. Change that to white. Again, this is really just for the benefit of the video. Like that blue, there's the blue that comes in there. So yeah, like stuff like this scale like will help to make the whole thing that bit bigger and wider. There you go. And that's a fun kind of effect. So auto rotate, yeah, I mean that's how you get these kind of crazy effects going. So let me just restart, and I'll turn up the speed of auto rotate there, and then when you increase your threshold, it's very funky altogether. And the amount of pixels, and restart once more. So yeah, pretty wacky. Let's maybe turn the threshold down a hair. So now it just kind of does it sporadically. So yeah, keep it with like a couple of pixels, restart our points, and restart our GPU particles. Maybe turn the speed down a little bit more. And now we've got that effect going again. Actually, Joe, I'm going to go back to the points and I'm going to turn. Let's see what we have options wise. Turn up our threshold again. Yeah, that's pretty interesting stuff there. Coming out better on the Madmapper preview than it is on the screen as well. The projection. So yeah, lots of fun to be had there. It can be a bit tricky to set up. As of now, I only think it works on 5.1.6 or any version of 5.1. Don't think it's working with the later ones, although I am quite happy to be proven wrong there. So yeah, that's the idea. If you want your visuals to match your laser and you're overlaying the two with each other, then yeah, by all means follow this video. If you have any questions about the process, it can be a bit tricky. By all means, leave a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But yeah, and if there's any Madmapper say tutorials or tips or anything you need, also suggestions for videos, feel free to fire them on. And yeah, best of luck and enjoy.